Hello, my name is Dr. Anna Symonds. I'm a consultant clinical psychologist and director of Elysian Psychology. I wanted to talk to you today about uncertainty and how we deal with it. I recorded a YouTube live video, which you can also find on my YouTube channel with my good friend Dr. Dan Maggs, but I wanted to elaborate on some of those points for you today. So we're obviously in a time where things feel very uncertain. You may feel powerless, helpless, overwhelmed, not being able to get your head around things, or maybe getting your head around things for a bit and then something changes and so you feel sort of back to the beginning again with it. It might manifest itself in ways of being kind of irritable with people or micromanaging people. So when we feel sort of a little bit out of control or uncertain, and of course we might feel a bit out of control actually connected to uncertainty, we might want to then control other people. So we're feeling out of control, and our response to that is to try and control. It's a very normal, what we call a reciprocal role kind of way of interacting and feeling. So we therefore we might notice we kind of on at people more than we would have been before, or we're noticing things that we haven't noticed before, so become a bit more hyper vigilant. Of course, we've got a little bit more time as well, haven't we? So our brains are naturally going to notice things that they wouldn't have done before. So that's how you might know if you're struggling with the uncertainty, just feeling anxiety or sadness that you haven't felt before. I've done a video on grief during this time, just that we're all not grief connected to necessarily a loss of a person, but kind of that we're grieving some of the life that we had before, and the future at the moment feels very uncertain, doesn't it? You know, we don't know when things are going to return to normal or how that's going to look, and so the brain will do a lot of wanting to know what's happening and go through what if scenarios as well, which are particularly unhelpful. The brain will want to try and answer some of those things, and some of those might end up in quite a catastrophic kind of way. Your brain may take you to some really dark places with it. And what I would say to you is, if you notice yourself engaging in this kind of thinking, is please gently and very kindly pull yourself back to the present moment and just say, okay, but for right now, this is where we're at. We've never had certainty in our lives. It's an illusion. You know, my children will say to me, what we're doing tomorrow, what we're having for dinner, what's happening on Saturday, or whatever, and I'll go, oh, well, we're doing this and that, and you're having this, and you know, because we're trying to create order, aren't we, for our children and ourselves, but our lives. We're conditioned to order. You know, like I say with the children, we're all brought up like that. You know, we want to know what's happening, and parents contain that, and then we learn to sort of expect that there's order in the world. But actually, nothing has ever really been certain. All of us are different in how much certainty we can take. So depends how sort of flexible and adaptable you are as a person, but of course it comes down to individual difference as well. So some people can cope with a higher degree of uncertainty than others. If you're someone who struggles with anxiety, you may struggle more with uncertainty. It may be something that really triggers you or you find very difficult, because again, anxiety makes us want to control. So you may find yourself kind of really trying to reach out, and your brain trying to grab some bits of certainty, because what worry is your brain, when it worries, thinks that it's preventing something, doesn't it? It's kind of trying to find a solution for something. So looking to the future can sometimes provide those solutions for us. So you might find that you're doing a bit more of that type of thinking. So yes, some of us can cope with uncertainty more or less than others, but we face uncertainty every day. You know, you don't know that the car in front of you at the traffic lights is going to stop. You just kind of trust that it is. So don't underestimate your ability for dealing with uncertainty. I appreciate what we're going through is a lot bigger than that example, but we do every day deal with little bits of uncertainty. We get thrown off our track, don't you? You can be having a certain day, and then something happens, or you have a message, or something happens, and you kind of think, oh, okay, so I'm dealing with that now, or I'm doing this, or I've got to think about this, or this person's presented me with this situation, and you deal with those every single day. You know, you thought you were going to have such for dinner. Oh, it's not there. I've eaten it. It's gone, or it's gone off, or whatever. You do something else. But those things don't make us anxious, because I guess they're not on such a bigger scale. But just to have some faith in yourself that this isn't something that's completely unfamiliar to you. We deal with uncertainty all the time, and how to deal with it really is just to accept. You don't probably have a hissy fit because, you know, the milk has gone out of date or whatever, or you can't have that pizza you wanted out of the fridge because it's gone mouldy. Maybe you do. I don't know. Hopefully you don't. So, you know, we just kind of accept it. So there's a sort of degree of acceptance that we need to be promoting in ourselves, about saying, okay, so for now, this is how this is. Resistance comes when we think it's like this and it should be like this, and we get that friction and that emotional kind of psychological resistance. So it's really important to kind of say, okay, but this is where I'm at for now. This is how it is. And you're not alone, are you? Everybody's in the same boat. So knowing that you're not alone helps us. But it's about having realistic expectations of yourself and the world as well, trusting that the government and the world are doing what they can in terms of the scientists with vaccines, the government in terms of making sure that we're all safe. So trusting, but also having realistic expectations as well of what's doable at the moment. In fact, it's quite nice to have a bit of a break from those expectations, isn't it? You know, that we don't need to be looking a certain way or doing certain things or rushing around doing this, that and the other. It gives us a little bit of a kind of the pressure is kind of, you know, like a volume button kind of turned down a little bit. So set realistic expectations for yourself as well. Otherwise you're going to try and meet them and you're going to come short, and then you'll be upset and you'll feel disappointed and you won't feel very good about yourself. I think it's just acknowledging the overwhelm, acknowledging the feeling of anxiety, acknowledge that you might be micromanaging, talking to the people around you and saying, you know, I'm finding this very hard, I'm struggling with this. Acknowledging the thought that comes in, I feel out of control, I feel like this is very uncertain, and then sitting with that feeling and being like, okay, this feels really uncomfortable. If you sit with that discomfort for about 90 seconds or so, it will kind of dissipate and move on. So just sitting and acknowledging it, saying, I feel really uncertain, I don't like this feeling, noticing where you feel it in your body. Is it in your tummy? Is it a bit of like kind of a butterflies? Is it kind of chest tightening? What is it? Shoulders tense? Feel it and feel into it and know that it's there and know that it's okay. It doesn't mean anything is wrong. Again, your brain will tell you that anxiety or a kind of worry response means that there's some sort of threat, but it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that there's some sort of threat right now. I appreciate COVID means that there's threats to the wider world and you may have vulnerable people around you and that may be very difficult, but right now in this very second, in this very moment, check in with yourself. Is everything okay and as under control as it could be? Probably yes. What are the things that you can control in your life? Think of those. It might be small things, you know, but you're choosing when and where to go for your walk within reason. You're choosing the bits of work that you pick up, that you do, which email you pick up next, you know, what you're eating for dinner, what you're wearing today. You know, that you are still in control of those smaller things. So try to notice what you are in control of rather than what you're not in control of. And as I say, keep coming very kindly back to the present moment and just bringing yourself back to your thoughts in the moment. Say, okay, so my thoughts just went off. That's okay. That's what they're going to do because I'm a bit stressed, I'm a bit anxious. But I'm coming back to the present moment and reaching out to people because everybody feels similarly. Perhaps reaching out to somebody who knows feeling a little bit more grounded and is managing well might help you to feel that way too. I do hope you found that useful. Please do subscribe to my channel if you would like to know other videos. I put other videos out and there's a series of videos on there as well, mainly around coronavirus if you feel you would like a little bit more support or you feel that'd be helpful. And I'll see you soon. Bye bye.